Disruptor. Is it good? Is it not good? In today's video, we're gonna find out how to play Disruptor in the laning stage, itemization, thought process, positioning, and pretty much simplify him. And as usual, we're gonna go through a little bit of mid-game, again, itemization and thought process, and what should be your ideas before jump into the mid-game. Before I jump into the game, what I wanna do is actually apologize because I don't really do that many support guides lately. I do upload some gameplays, but I don't really do guides, and the reason behind that is I don't really have that much time. Recently I've been doing full-time coaching. I've started working for Gamers Class, and as you understand, time is a little bit limited, and this type of videos require a lot of time. Hopefully with a little bit of support, I'm gonna be back on track making more guides. And of course, as usual, since I'm on my way to 1K subscribers, any like, comment, and subscribe would actually get appreciated a lot, as I don't really support this channel anyway. Without wasting any more time, let's jump into the guide and start to understand how to play Disruptor.
Moving up and down, side to side like a roller coaster.
Alright, let us start understanding the hero, right? The three things that you need to know about the hero is, one, he's an OK laner, right? And the reason why he's OK laner is because Thunderstrike deals a lot of damage. In fact, level 1, it deals 108 damage, right? I'm just gonna show numbers. So his laning is really, really fine. He's not a lane dominator because he actually relies on having a lot of mana, right? The second thing is that he's a beast in the mid game, right? He's a beast in the game. What does this mean? Glimpse is the perfect ability, if you're playing from ahead, of course, if you're playing from ahead, to actually find pickoffs. His ultimate, static form, insane team fight, right? And its cooldown is actually quite small, so you can just casually use it. And of course, Thunderstrike with Shard, if you have something like a Terrorblade, Phantom Assassin, Lifestealer, generally it's really, really good for your position 1, right? So these are the three things that you need to know about the hero. This is actually its strengths. Of course, if you buy something like a Sentry and you skill Kinetic Shield, you can get to D-ward uphills, right? That's like food for thought later on. So the way to actually play Disruptor, because you have some dilemmas, is to actually focus on the position 3. Unlike something like a Jakiro or a Crystal Maiden, Disruptor can only use Thunderstrike on one target, and of course you can get to have a lot of right clicks on that target, because if you see, it actually momentarily, when it lands, when it procs, it actually removes it slows the enemy movement speed and attack speed, so you can actually get to trade. And I've seen a lot of Disruptor actually focusing the position 4 instead of the position 3. If you're a hero that's mana dependent in the lane, right, like Silencer, Crystal Maiden, Jakiro, Lich, Disruptor, all these heroes have this in common, right? Then you definitely need to use Thunderstrike on the position 3, right? This is a must. And I'm gonna show examples how to play Disruptor and how not to play Disruptor as well. In the mid game, you have a lot of items, but they're all support items. For example, you can buy Avalanche, you can buy Glimmer Cape, you can buy Force Staff, right? But the problem is that this hero does not really farm. Thunderstrike does not really clear waves, and it's not like you are a hero that farms that fast or dominates a lane, right? Disruptor is a great hero when you're from ahead, and not that great hero when you're from behind. When you're from ahead, you can get Glimpse, you can use Glimpse, it's really good, right? But when you're from behind, most likely the enemies are gonna chase you rather than the other way around, so keep that in your mind. Definitely, in my opinion, you need to play the hero with a lot of mangoes. Really sacrificial hero, right? Of course, in these items you want to buy Aghanims and Shard, right? These are also great items, but in my mind, even Edrelance is kind of a surviving, a luxury item, right? What I suggest is always adapt to the opponents. If you're playing from ahead, Edrelance makes a lot of sense. If you're playing from behind, and you'll see like hopefully a lot of examples later on, I go for Ghost Scepter into Shard a lot of times because I don't really have the gold, and of course getting items like Edrelance will not help me, because the worst thing about Disruptor is that he doesn't really have any abilities if he gets jumped on. Even Crystal Maiden, even Jakiro, even Lich, they do have some kind of ability to somehow delay the opponents. Disruptor is completely helpless, so positioning and really good vision on the opponent are keys for the hero to work in the mid game. Without wasting time, let's jump into the laning stage and start to understand the hero and how to actually start winning the lane. let us start. And the first game we're gonna see, I'm a Disruptor and I get to play together with a Wraith King. Disruptor generally doesn't really have good combos compared to Grimstroke, for example, where his laning is not as as fine as Disruptors. Grimstroke, for example, is in the same category as Disruptor, where they are really good in the mid game, but his laning stage is okay. Disruptor, unlike him, does not really have some kind of combo with any hero. He has a solid nuke, but he has no slows. If the lane partner is strong, and by strong means something like a Razor, something like a Chaos Knight, it's really good. If it's not strong, it's okay. Definitely a hero, though, that you always need to be careful with positioning. So, what I'll face here is actually a Timbersaw, right? A Timbersaw and a Marci. And I really want to point this game out because Disruptor is quite strong level 1, and there are heroes that you should be scared of, like Timbersaw, right? Where he's really strong, but even Timbersaw doesn't have a level 1 power spike, while Disruptor does have a level 1 power spike, right? So my thought process here is, okay, I'm gonna spam this Timbersaw until he gets level 3, and here's what happens, right? This is a really bad matchup, right? Because I get to play versus two heroes that, they can just jump on me, and Disruptor, as we said previously, hates to get jumped on. So what I'm gonna do is like spam. You see how I just play on the other side of Marci? I'm trying to dodge this guy. If I dodge Marci, he doesn't have a game all of a sudden, because usually all these melee position 4 heroes stand here, so I just dodge them. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on this Disruptor, right? And I know that they don't really have the damage to kill me early on, right? So all I'm gonna do is actually focus the position 3. Now, in terms of itemization, I went for stick because Timbersaw is a kind of hero that actually spams a lot. So I thought, I do, push the wave a little bit with Thunderstrike, but I feel like I have limited amount of time where I'm actually useful in the lane. So I might as well, take advantage of it. Perfect. And you see how I just try to get right clicks on top of him again and again. And on my third Thunderstrike, my character starts to realize, okay, this guy wants to do something there. Okay. And again I'm like, okay, again Thunderstrike. And of course, Wraith King did get a couple of denies that were really crucial. And you see that the moment we get level 2, and this was a mistake for me. I really want to point this out. That glimpse I really regret. Because people get to forget that Disruptor can actually, if you TP, and if you TP from the fountain to the lane, you can get glimpsed back, right? And I actually used, but I was afraid that he might not die, so I might as well, better safe than sorry. And all of a sudden we just get this kill, right? That's really good. That's really good. And what I'm gonna do here, I really thought that, maybe I should just pull to keep the wave back, but this is what I would do if I had a really strong laner that I can constantly get to kill the opponent. But on my way there, if you get to see, I realized, okay, wait, I still have a timing, okay? He's still gonna get level 3, so I still need to keep pressure him, He gets level 2, I'm thinking, okay, still not level 3. Maybe I can pressure him more. Okay? And I have to Thunderstrike here, and the reason why I Thunderstrike here, even though I regretted it, is because it is too much damage all of a sudden, right? I know that Marci is gonna stay there. I already disrupt her pool, but look at that. He will stay there. I'm getting 3, 4, 5 right clicks. That's a lot of damage for only one spell, Okay, he gets disconnected. I'm sorry you have to see that. I didn't know, right? But again, honestly, it doesn't matter because even if we don't get a kill, the problem is Timbersaw, it's not Marci. Right? And you see that I got level 3, and I'm like, okay, maybe with level 3, and I go for level 2 Thunderstrike, and I like this build a lot. Sometimes you might go for Kinetic Field, depends, but level 2 Thunderstrike on level 3, I really like, unless you're really, really desperate, okay? And I'm like, okay, maybe I can actually get to deal damage. Of course, I'm quite far ahead. I already start to get items for my mid game. If you're about to see, I get boots because I don't think this laning stage is gonna be an extended version, because I'm gonna leave pretty soon, and I think so is Wraith King, right? And Wraith King is a type of hero that does scale a lot with level, so the more levels he gets, the better it is. At this point, I understand that there is no reason for me to, stay in the lane to stack XP. He's under tower. I'm not getting any stronger, you know, at the point that I can deal with the Timbersaw. And if you see right now, I'm just moving elsewhere. If you see the CS, I think we're doing really well. Net worth wise, we're doing really well. And at this point, I'm like, okay, maybe we can just kill this Lina because I just have to justify my existence, you know. And of course, I really want to show you that because I felt like, okay, my Queen of Pain is gonna join. I'm like, okay, it's okay. I managed to disengage, and of course, I'm like, okay, we can just go that second Thunder Strike. And I just realized at that moment that that's funny, that my Queen of Pain doesn't have blink 6 minutes in. Probably my fault, I didn't get to see that, but in the end what matters, even though I did fit a kill there, is that my rating is ahead from Timbersaw, and this lane is actually predetermined to be lost. And all of a sudden, even, you know, we're slightly ahead, even if we're even, this is actually a victory for me. And this was actually managed to be really, really, let's say easy, you know, really simple win. And if you see 10 minutes in, rating actually more net worth than Timbersaw, for me that's a victory. Hopefully that's a good example, and let's go to another example which I think is going to be useful as well. Without wasting time, let's jump into that. This is the second game that I want to show, and now I'm going to lane with a Drow Ranger. Again, I'm Disruptor, and we're going to face a Necro and an Elder Titan. And as previously, we're going to go through the same thought process as we had. We're gonna focus on Necro, a really weak level 1 hero that does not really like to right click. Usually Necro wins the lane by actually long-term focusing on better reasoning, because he can always last it. But if he's actually in a condition that he cannot last it, then you will actually be able to shut him down, right? So the game starts, right? And in the previous game, I started with the stick, so I did in this lane, and the reason why I did that is because both Necro and Timbersaw spam a lot of spells. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on this Necro a lot, and as you'll see, I'm gonna dodge this. Elder Titan as much as possible. And you see how I'm like, okay, focus, right click. I'm gonna show some stats because Necro has a fine damage. He's OK armor, but he cannot fight you back. His level 1 Death Pulse has actually big cooldown. Once you use it for the next 8 seconds, he's actually a little bit weak. That's why if you play position 4, you need to always be in front of this hero to actually protect him and never be in this situation. Because at this moment, I really want to show that the laning stage is actually over, right? Simple as that. If he's incapable of last hitting a hero like Necro and be nearby creeps, he doesn't really have a game, right? He can't really go to the jungle, and look at that. And this Necro could be similar to Viper, Razor, and any other ranged hero. Look at that. A lot of right clicks. I'm pinking like a maniac there, like go, go, go. And of course, what we're gonna do is keep going and keep focusing this Necro, right? Perfect. And you see right now I have 2 clarities. The reason I have a clarity is because Disruptor, you know, does benefit. He uses Thunder Strike, back off a little bit, and then once this is out of cooldown, he uses it again. And of course, when you use that, people really struggle to trade with you. Of course, Disruptor is also a hero, just like Maiden Sim, that requires a lot of mana. And of course, as you see again, I Thunder Strike again. And until, you know, we have right now level 2. And of course, level 2 for Necro doesn't really mean anything, because he doesn't have more tools, or he doesn't have, you know, ways to disengage. He can skill level 2 Ghost Route, but that's really bad for him. There you go, you see? And we just focus him, hit him, and we just disengage. At some point, you know, I'm just gonna show CS. At some point, he will actually collapse, right? He will actually, he will not be able. He will get out of consumables, and of course, look at my items, more mangoes, more tangos. I really want to shut down a hero like Necro because he doesn't have alternatives. He cannot go to the jungle. I'm like, go, go, go. And all of a sudden, glimpse, and we get him back. This is a 2v1 scenario, so I'm thinking, you know, help me. We can actually turn this around. Right? And of course, ideally, I do want to have glimpse, but, you know, to send Necro back. But look at that. We follow the same pattern again and again. I really want to show that. Let's look at that. Hit, and I'm just forcing, right? Do you see how we just play on the other side of the lane with this versus Elder Titan, right? Which he hits quite hard. And I go for level 2, of course, for level 2 Thunder Strike. And you see how we just follow this pattern, right? Lane ward is really good versus heroes that you know they are gonna return to the lane. And look at that. Lane ward. Let's go back a little bit to see that. Let's go back because I think that's beautiful. Sometimes, you know, lane ward, I need to see where this Elder Titan B is going to be so I can know, you know, so I know if he's nearby, so I know if I can commit in a 2v1 scenario. So he doesn't really show up, and all of a sudden, Q, vision, glimpse back, he's alone. He gets level 3. That was really smart from him because he last hit the creep, he got level 3, but sadly, he can't really do anything. At this point, even though my net worth, I want you to see my net worth is actually really low. That's a, it doesn't really matter because Necro doesn't really have a game, and that's probably the best actually condition for my my draw ranger. This is a really this is a fine draw ranger game, but definitely if this hero has a good start, you have a lot of chances of winning the game. Now, if you see I keep buying consumables, and the reason why I do that is because I know that they're gonna keep coming, right? They're gonna keep coming to the lane because what's Necro gonna do? Like go to the jungle? That's not really gonna happen. And of course, I don't let them pull. If you see the timing, 550, usually they go for the pull. And what we're gonna do is, again, dodge the Elder Titan. I think after a certain point, you start to get the idea, right? Wyvern rotates, but other than that, I feel like if we actually force rotations and, we're actually getting ganked here, but if you force rotations, that means, in my mind, that you have done something really good. This is the net worth 6 minutes in. This is the net worth, like this, the CS, you see, like, it has only 13 at 6 minutes in. I think that's a really, really solid lane. And most importantly, he's level 4. My drone ranger is level 5.5, half more level, and she can go jungle. And I think she's going to have a fine time. Meanwhile, I have the Earthspirit to play with. He's our mid laner. In the previous game, I had a bounty hunter support, bounty hunter with the disruptor, a great duo support because I can get to glimpse back the track kills. Definitely, you need to have a game plan. And right now, of course, Disruptor really good this game because I get to play versus a Weaver, I get to play versus Void Spirit, and these mobile heroes, and generally mobile heroes hate Disruptor because their mobility means nothing unless they have BKB. Without wasting time, let's jump to another game to actually see how to win another game, and I think that's going to be the last one. Then we're going to go through a little bit more bad games. That's the third game that we're going to watch, and right now I play Disruptor with Antimates. Again, having a lane partner means nothing, and we get to play versus Legion Commander and Techies. If you want to know, this is like, this is pretty hard as a matter because Legion Commander and Abaddon are probably the worst nightmare for Disruptor because our only spell to actually deal with the offlaners is Thunderstrike, and Thunderstrike, as you see, is dispellable. So press the attack and the Photic Shield actually destroys us as heroes. And of course, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna focus on position 4, but no. I have a Techies position 4. That means if I get him 50%, 40%, 30%, he's going to suicide. I'm going to get damaged, right? So again, I feel like you should contest as Disruptor because Disruptor is really strong level 1, right? And of course, look at that. We actually get to kill him here. I think that's really solid. Otherwise, if he just suicides and we don't get the first blood, here's what happens. This has a big cooldown actually, right? And that's really good for us. And of course, even if we get the first blood, we actually receive a lot of damage. We actually, it's suicide. So my game plan is, and this took me a while. You need to see what LC or say Abaddon position 3 is going to scale. Because a lot of times these guys go for passive, right? If you see that he goes for passive, like I instant do that, right? Because here's what I thought. I'm like, okay, I get to have LC. LC is really good versus me. LC is really good versus anti-mage because he's out of mana. He can use a passive, but if he's out of mana, at least I can get to be useful, right? And sometimes, generally, this happens in Dota, and this applies in Dota generally. You have to be more creative, right? So first of all, I bring a lot more tangos because I feel like I need to boost my anti-mages, right? Look at that. We already have a really, really hard time, and I get to salve him a lot. If you get to salve your carry 1 minute in, I'm gonna have news for you. The lane is not really going that well. You need to bring more salves because anti-mage does not really have a power spike that, like draw PL, PA, that's gonna, okay, I'm gonna take this level and then I'm gonna go to jungle. No. And of course, I just realized, it took me a while to actually start to realize that, okay, LC doesn't have mana, burn his mana, and maybe we can actually make something happen. And you see right now, I'm so desperate, I don't really want to pull the way back. So, it's gonna be under the safe zone, what I call, and try to force a kill, because forcing a kill is actually not gonna happen. It's some kind of dream. I want to survive this lane, okay? You see I keep the skill point, and look at that. I really want you to see that. And this is like super aggressive from LC, which, by the way, he's level 3, but look at that. Then I'm gonna skill that. Look at that. Sometimes you have to be creative, okay? Because I have this game on YouTube as well, the gameplay itself, because I was recording that for YouTube as well. I was like jumping and screaming out of joy, out of happiness. I really want you to see that. You have to punish the stupid plays, right? And sometimes you just have to be creative, right? You see LC being overly aggressive, and this is the power of Glimpse, He just used press the attack. I can get to Thunder Strike him, right? And I just get to glimpse him, one tower shot. And he's quite low that he cannot really fight back. And again, what do we do? Just because we got a kill doesn't really mean anything. Try to deny as much XP as possible. Try to keep the lane under tower so Anti-Mage has the extra armor and the extra HP. And, that's the best you can do. In the mid game, you have the Batrider to play with. You see how aggressive this guy is? And, look at that. Now I can get to use this spell. Look at that. He plays overly aggressive, and I can get to punish him. I don't really mind about that. I was like really happy about that. Let's see that again, right? He plays aggressive. He goes under tower. I think he also has something like Orb of Venom, right? Yeah. And okay. I get to hit him. I go under tower so I can have the extra armor. And you see that I don't really skill any spell. Maybe I need Kinetic Field, And then he uses that. Otherwise, he's going to get out of mana. And then all of a sudden, I go for Thunder Strike level 2. Of course, my Anti-Mage has, he instantly reacts to what's going on. And that's a good thing of being a little bit higher MMR. And all of a sudden, you see, there's no turning back from him in case he starts to run. I'm just gonna glimpse him back, and all of a sudden, suicide, I die, but I don't really care because all the experience and the gold goes to my Anti-Mage, and the more level he has, the more stats he's gonna have, and the faster he's gonna farm. So I was really happy about that, and as you see, more mangoes, just in case. I tried to actually glimpse there, I tried to be sneaky, sadly it's daytime, and look at that. We're still fighting, right? But I'm gonna show CS because this is a lane that if we actually do even, I'm super happy because we're both getting hard countered, right? Disruptor usually wins a lane by slowly, building the damage, and I don't really have kill potential in any of these heroes, Techies and LC, right? And right now, if you see, I get the boost because at this point right now, I already aimed for the mid game, right? And that's the last thing that I want you to show. The last thing I want to show. Do you see how he's alone? I'm like, okay. We get the kill. This guy's alone. If we burn his mana, that's fine. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna use a mango. He doesn't have pressure attack. He's literally out of mana. Force him as much as possible. If we don't kill him, that is fine. In reality, he's dead. Okay. Okay, that's also something I want to show, and this is why I hate the hero. Overly aggression, like many times in my attempt, and this is the next video I want to show, the next replay. In my attempt to make something happen, I find myself getting killed. That's like a problem I have as a player, but generally, like, I realize that the moment I actually, start focusing him, I realize that, okay, this guy has actually Helm. I got baited a lot, really good play, he outplayed me. But I feel like in the end, the only thing that matters is the net worth and Anti-Mage. When you have Anti-Mage and TB, you always, no matter what support you have, always fully commit on these heroes because, they are the type of heroes that can literally carry your game, right? I think that's, that's a really fine laning stage where we actually managed to do really well, if you think that, we're getting hard countered, right? And of course, the moment I see that, and I see that my Anti-Mage is low HP, I'm gonna buy another salve, and hopefully we should be fine, right? 7 minutes in, of course, jungle items, and, I get a fine Keen Optic for me, I'm gonna keep it, and yeah, I think that's a really good laning. Net worth-wise, Anti-Mage almost 1k ahead versus LC. That's a dream, right? Doesn't get better than that. Let's jump to another replay and see actually how to lose a game. This is the last replay that I want to show, and this is, like, in my opinion, the weakness of Disruptor, and not only the laning stage, but in the mid game as well. I get to play with Medusa, and I get to play position 3 Dawnbreaker and the position 4 Earthspirit, right? And of course, these are two heroes that they can just jump on you. So, in my opinion, many times you just want to stick to the plan, play really defensively, always use Thunderstrike, but don't get overextended. As long as you're near the tower, you should have no problems. If you get overextended, you might face some issues. And generally, I do have that problem as a player, as support. I'm overly aggressive. This is why I don't pick nowadays heroes like Witch Doctor, for example, because in the mid game I just try to make so many things and I just die. Okay, and right now what happened is that in my attempt to be aggressive, because the game started and I was like super confident, right? I was super confident. I'm like, okay, this should be easy lane, double range versus double melee. We have a lot of damage, but it actually ended up being a disaster, right? So the game starts, and what we're gonna do, is focus the Dawnbreaker, focus the position 3, right? And it goes really well. He's almost 50% HP, right? And of course, what I should have done here is stick to the plan, And look what I'm doing. I'm just like, okay, I'm overly aggressive, and I don't know why I did that. Is the answer. Like, I'm like, okay. What I did is just because I saw the percentage, I forgot that as a Dawnbreaker player myself, Dawnbreaker is actually quite high health. The fact that he has this health, it's not 200, it's like 300, right? And of course, I'm like, I'm so sorry, man, I'm like, okay, we just lost it on the spot because you're gonna get level 2. The game, continues. I'm like, stick to the plan as well, 2. This time I'm gonna be more careful, but right now, I already felt like, okay, it's gonna be a little bit harder because this is how the lane is a little bit pushed, so I don't really feel safe. So whenever you don't have your Q, I will not be aggressive at all, right? And right now I just want to, because Earthspirit can also jump on me, I'm just gonna use spells as much as possible to anyone at this point, I wanna put this out of cooldown. I use Glimpser, really bad Glimpser, honestly, not that great. Let's put the CS, and my Medusa gets jumped, right? Let's see that again. My Medusa gets jumped, right? And the only thing I can do, that's a problem. I just have raw damage. I have nothing else, The only thing I can do is like right-click him. And what I actually ended up doing, and I felt like that was a little bit smart. I just mango my Medusa, right? I'm just gonna show that from her perspective. I start mango him, so the mana shield, she's gonna have more mana shield. And you see how I just keep mango her, more mana shield, and we actually managed to survive, And that was really good because the enemies wasted a lot of time and a lot of resources, but we actually wasted more. Of course, what we're gonna do, more assaults, more tangos, and of course, Medusa hopefully is a type of hero that does get some kind of levels, and she can just go to the jungle. And I was like, okay, give her as much XP as possible. Maybe I'm just gonna get level 3, if I get level 3, Thunderstrike, instead of 180 damage, deals way more, like 270. So that's really good. Maybe we can still fight that. But, I ended up being wrong here, and I thought, okay, maybe we can still fight that. I just underestimated how much damage they have, how much health they have. And at this point, I'm just gonna give one more shot, right? You see how they're just getting dived? Like, they're just too much health for a Disruptor. Meanwhile, if I play Crystal Maiden in this lane, and even if I get jumped, I still have a Crystal Nova, I still have a Frostbite. If I have Jakiro, I'm too tanky, and I have dual burst to fight them back, and by the time they use all their spells, I will still have a few, 100, 200 HP to maybe turn this fight around. But right now, Disruptor is really, this is the weakest point. And of course, in the mid game, this is why you want survivability items, right? Because if you get to play versus Storm, versus an Ember, versus a Void Spirit, you probably need Force of Glimmer Cape items to survive. And once you survive, just turn back, use everything, Glimpse, Static Field, Kinetic Field, right? Even here, I'm like, okay, maybe we can just fight that. But of course, because I have a lot of mangoes, but these guys just, we get a kill, but it's still a good kill, but just too much, It's just too much. I tried to pull here against Salt, and if you see my net worth, this is the ultimate sacrificial support, right? Sacrificial, nice English, bro. Right now, I think I can I can definitely say that the laning stage is over, and I feel like even though the CS wise we're doing fine, in like the way to play Disruptor is to always play from ahead to actually use a glimpse. If you play Disruptor from behind, then you're gonna struggle the whole game because the hero actually sucks playing from behind, because again your only strength is your glimpse and your ulti and the ability to actually chase and turn the back and find actually kills, and then you just get the shard, right? And again, you see how I'm just getting I'm just getting run down, honestly. And for me to survive, I even go for raindrops. We do get some kills. Even here, we're doing fine. But again, this lane should have been so much better. Look my aggression, just wasting my mana there, and look my net worth is just so bad. Again, yeah, like I think like my Medusa dies here or something, but it doesn't matter even if she doesn't die. Even if she doesn't die, we it doesn't matter. She was already no mana, no health. Now, net worth wise, right? I really want to show that they do, like, if you see the net worth, we are actually ahead, right? I really want to point this out. You need to do, again, Medusa is like AM and TB. You need to commit on the hero, right? And you're gonna be full sacrificial, right? Even though we're doing fine, I don't like my laning stage because I thought we're supposed to actually stomp the lane, and in the end, we did okay. For me, that's a loss, okay? Even though net worth apparently shows different, for me, that's a loss, right? Now, let's jump a little bit to my final thoughts and overall explain the hero what you should do in the mid game. I think that's a good example of how not to play Disruptor, and definitely if you want to try this hero, and by the way, it's going to get buffed in the next patch. If you want to try this hero, I think that's super informative, like as an example of, how not to play.